When my wife Lauren told me she was going to Kansas City for a 3-day business conference, I didn't question it. She had been traveling for work more often lately, and though a small voice in my gut whispered that something was off, I dismissed it. She packed with unusual calm, humming softly, checking her hair twice, and carefully choosing outfits that looked more like date night attire than corporate wear. Her red dress stood out immediately. "You're taking that for a business trip?" I asked. She gave a faint smile. "There's a party night, Ethan. Don't get jealous." Her tone was light, playful even, but her eyes avoided mine. I laughed it off, forcing myself to believe everything was fine, though deep inside, something twisted. That night, after she left, sleep refused me. I stared at our wedding photo on the dresser, thinking about how distant she had become. No more good night kisses. No more shared laughter. Her voice had lost its warmth. Only curt replies and cold shoulders remained. She used to share everything with me, but now she hid her phone whenever I entered the room. And then there was him, Casey, her co-worker. She had mentioned him casually before, calling him just a friend, someone who understood her better. The way she said his name, light and almost musical, haunted me. I didn't want to seem like a suspicious husband, but when loyalty feels one-sided, peace slips away. The next morning, I called my friend Mark, who worked at the same company. I mentioned that Lauren was at the Kansas City conference. He paused. "That's strange. Her name's not on the list," he said. My chest tightened. Trying to sound casual, I said, "Maybe she joined last minute?" "No, man. Attendance lists were finalized last week," he replied. I hung up and sat in silence for a full minute. Then, without thinking, I packed a small bag, grabbed my keys, and started driving toward Kansas City. It wasn't anger that pushed me. It was that quiet, gnawing curiosity that churns in your stomach when you suspect the truth and need to see it with your own eyes. By the time I reached the city, it was past 9. Downtown lights glittered against the glass towers. I parked at the hotel her company usually used and approached the front desk. "Hi." My wife checked in earlier, Laura Matthews. "I want to surprise her." The receptionist typed and nodded. "Room 412. My heart sank as the elevator climbed. Each floor beat felt heavier than the last. At her door, I heard faint laughter, a man's voice, then hers. The same laugh she used to save for me when we first met. I froze. For a moment, I considered walking away, pretending I hadn't heard anything, but my hand moved on its own, knocking 3 times. Silence, then hurried whispers and footsteps. The door cracked open. There he was, Casey, half-buttoned shirt, looking startled. When his eyes met mine, surprise melted into guilt. Behind him, Lauren's voice trembled. "Ethan." I gently pushed the door open and stepped inside. The room smelled of wine and her perfume. The bed was messy. Lights dimmed. A half-empty champagne bottle sat on the nightstand. My pulse slowed, not from anger, but from something colder, realization. I looked at her, disheveled hair, trembling hands clutching the blanket, and said softly, "So, this is your business trip?" She tried to speak, but no words came. Casey muttered, "Look, man, it's not what you think." I turned to him evenly. "I think it's exactly what it looks like." He swallowed hard and stepped back. I reached into my pocket and pulled out her wedding ring. She had removed it before leaving, placing it gently on the table beside the glasses. "You forgot this," I said, her eyes filled with tears. "Ethan, please." But I raised my hand, cutting her off. "No need. You've said enough without words." Casey started inching toward the door. "You can leave," I said, calm but firm. "But before you go, maybe tell HR how team bonding really works on company trips. I'll make sure they get the memo." He froze, understanding. Lauren gasped, "Please don't ruin his career." I turned to her. "You ruined mine the moment you chose him over your vows." Her face fell. That was the last image I saw before walking out. No yelling, no throwing things, just silence. The drive home was long. Each mile felt heavier. Yet strangely, I felt lighter, as if I had finally stopped fighting for something that wasn't real. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I simply accepted that the woman I loved no longer existed in the person left behind in that hotel room. At home, I removed my ring and set it beside hers on the counter. That was the end of us. 2 weeks later, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Lauren. Her voice trembled. "Ethan, please. Case has been fired. HR found out everything. I lost my job too. I made a mistake. I didn't mean to. I cut her off. You meant every choice you made. Actions have consequences, Lauren." Then I hung up. That was the last time we spoke. Now, when people say he's just a friend, I smile quietly. Kansas City taught me this. Loyalty doesn't need explanations, but betrayal always reveals itself in silence. Lauren thought she had found excitement. What she really discovered was a lesson she'll carry for the rest of her life.